Oh my God. I'm messing everything up. I'm clicking the wrong button. Sorry, guys. What's up, Grayson Report? Happy Monday. Me clicking the wrong buttons here. How's your Monday going? What's up? Carol, Tammy, Wendy, Nikki, Joanne, Kyle, what's up? Dusty Lane, Invisible Rose, Heather, whatever, Lisa Boo, Tyranna, what's up? Matthew, D Nice, Julissa with a happy April Fool's Day, Brandon, Mr. Ruck Gaming. How's everyone doing? How's your April Fool's going? Have you enjoyed all the posts, the crazy posts that have been floating around on social media? I saw some crazy ones, but I also saw some ones that I would buy. Lisa Boo goes, hi, Lisa. Project Mellow Music says, A up. Chris Barber. Jen, how's it going? I saw some crazy April Fool's posts today. Some of them I forgot today was April Fool's, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. And then one of them was actually super cool. It was like a Lego set of a DJ. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Armin van Buren, but he posted that they're coming out with a Lego set of him. I was like, oh my God, I would so buy that. Like, why? Nerd Report in the house. What's up, Carrot? Going to send you my story on PayPal in a minute. All right, Carrot. I'll keep a lookout on for it, because my phone does not notify me anymore. Carol goes, it's been quiet today, just did more laundry. D Nice goes, people are getting very clever. Matthew's up with the lightsaber, but still down with the car. There's a 50-50. At least you're up with one and not down with both, Matthew. You got to think of it that way. So, but it still sucks to have car problems. I'll wait a few minutes as I'm waiting for people to trickle in. And before I get into my main topic, which Kyle had mentioned a while ago, and I was looking at my notes and I was like, oh, what is this? So we are going to do that today, courtesy. Thanks to Kyle for giving me the idea. Joanne assembling an exercise bike. That must be fun. Actually, when I assembled mine, it wasn't that bad. Just depends on what kind you got. Matthew goes, Ghostbusters news April Fool's post about Lego Ghostbuster game almost got me. Then I said, oh, wait. I like those Lego games, video games. I always have fun with those. It doesn't matter which one. Like, I've played the Harry Potter ones. I've played the Star Wars ones. I've always had fun with those. Those you just can't go wrong with. Julius is saying it's so good to see everyone in the chat. All right, guys, while I wait for a few people, Tammy, what's up? As I wait for a few people to trickle in before I get into my main topic, we are going to talk about, I want to say it was Elaine that posted this in my Telegram. I saw this article before she posted, but then it reminded me that I wanted to talk about it. Terrifier 3 director, and this is from Unilad, reveals they filmed most insanely horrific scenes that nearly made the lead actor vomit on set. The funny thing about this film is the way they advertised Terrifier 2 and how they were saying people were getting sick in the theaters. And I was like, really? So I don't know how bad. I'm looking forward to Terrifier 3. I believe it's going to be released in October of 2024. So I cannot wait. I'm a huge Terrifier fan. Horror movies are known for their sick and gory scenes, but one upcoming film is so twisted and terrifying that it had one of the stars nearly vomiting on set. While some horror movies can have us wincing and covering our eyes, even if we're not the squeamish, it appears one new film is determined to take it to new levels. The Terrifier movie was so sick and twisted that the first film reportedly had people passing out in cinemas, and the second also scared and delighted horror fans. Yet the third is expected to be insanely horrific and even had the lead actor nearly sick wilts filming. And I believe Terrifier 3 takes place during Christmas time. So that's going to be interesting. Director Damien Leone updated fans on Twitter Twix, as Bernadette says, about Terrifier 3 this week, as he wrote, can honestly say we just filmed one of the most insanely horrific scenes of the Terrifier franchise, and you'll never believe who couldn't handle it on set. The BTS is hilarious. Can't wait for you all to see. David Howard Thornton reprises his role as Art the Clown and reportedly found some of his scenes as the villain so sickening that his stomach was churning and he nearly vomited on set. So that's got to be, if he's vomiting and he's playing the danging character, then it's got to be something crazy. He's joined by Lauren Lavera returning as Sienna, Samantha Scafidi returning as character Victoria Hayes, and Chris Jericho, who had a cameo in Terrifier 2, is also coming back. He had a small if you guys are familiar with the second one, Chris Jericho had a small role. He kind of was at the end. I don't mean to give it away. Matthew calls it Twixer. Leone explained in a previous interview that the cast were excited to return the horror story. As he told Deadline, Chris Jericho is super excited. This one is going to be picked up where part 2 left off in the insane asylum, so you're going to see what transpires there, what mayhems unfolds, because seeing how Art and Victoria ended up is so insane, and see how they get out of the situation and what happens next is going to be really wild. So we have to get Chris back in there and see how he becomes a part of that situation. He added, one of the main goals of Terrifier 3 is to recapture the creep factor present in the original Terrifier short film. That had a genuinely spooky atmosphere that I'm still proud of. If all goes as planned, part 3 will be the scariest Terrifier thus far. This one will actually have a little bit more of an evil overtone to it, so this is going to be honest, hopefully the scariest and darkest. I want it to feel as if the audience is coming into this one isn't as comfortable with Art the Clown as they feel they are now. I want to see if I can make them really scared of him again. Terrifier 3 is set to be released in October 2024, and I cannot wait. Elaine goes, Chris Jericho used to be my wrestler crush. I didn't really like Chris Jericho in the wrestling world. Chris Barber says haven't seen any of them. If you the funny thing is, I had never watched it until about a couple of years ago because he was a guest. Uh David Howard was a guest, as well as Damien Leone at Mad Monster, and I would always see people like have hype about it, and I was like, what is this all about? So I finally watched it. And the first one is like, it's a slasher, so it's what you expect it to be. It's like a B movie slasher. It's a slasher. So there's blood, guts, you name it. So I was like, oh, okay. Second one I saw, I was like, really? People vomited in the theater for this? Again, it's a slasher. Didn't really become then, because Lewis had never seen it, so I showed it to him, and that's when I saw it like the second time, that is when it clicked. I was like, dang, Art the Clown is cool. So yeah. So then I became a fan of Art the Clown. Nikki Bella, what's up? Chris Barber Barber is going, blood and guts are cool. Yeah, I love blood and guts and slashers. It's the best. Daniel, what's up? Tyrannigo sounds good. I haven't seen the first or second one. You if you guys like slashers and blood and guts and stuff like that, you have to check it out. He's a fun character. He does not say a word. He's like a what do you call it? Mime? Like his facial expressions is what makes him creepy. And he's a clown, so Kyle goes, it's cool that there's only 3 of them films. Usually, when something is a hit, Hollywood capitalize and milk it for all it's worth. I like to think they are making them with a passion for art. I agree with that, Kyle, because I'm a huge fan of Hellraiser. And to be honest with you, anything after Hellraiser 4, it goes downhill. Hellraiser 4 Bloodline, that's it. It just goes downhill. I don't even remember past Hellraiser 4 Bloodline. I do remember the Hulu one, which they were talking about. If I could find that article for next time, they were talking about that they're going to come out with a second one with the female Pinhead. And if they do that, they need to put better makeup, better costume design, because it did not have the feel of the original to me. That was the only thing I had a problem with. But I get what you're saying, Kyle, because sometimes they just go overboard and they keep going with it. Oh, Scream is another perfect example. I don't really have high hopes for the next Scream. Kyle, that's true. Plus new actors. True. Because sometimes the original ones are it's better just to stick with them. It honestly is. I feel like it's better just to stick with the original actors and then kind of just go on from there. Because when you start changing, especially like actors like, Freddy Krueger, where it's their actual face, and then Pinhead, for example, same thing. Because I think, what was it, Judgment? They had a different Pinhead in that one, and that one was just horrible. But I feel like those type of films, you kind of have to have the same actor. There's no one that could beat their original. I mean, like if you have Jason, or you have, Leatherface, even with Chucky, like if you change the voice of Chucky, forget it. Carol goes, I still have problems with a slasher movie because my brother slashing his finger on a window pane, slipping on ice, watched it happen. Oh, wow. That is horrific to watch, Carol. I don't blame you. Elaine goes, yes, it could get a little corny when they start changing actors. Yes, it does. And I swear to God, I try to give those movies a chance. And I try to give it a good chance, and I can't. I just can't. But I mean, if you have, like I said, if you have like a Jason or Leatherface, even Michael, I mean, even some people like that are huge fans of Michael, they could tell if someone changes the walk. So, I mean, I guess it just depends. But they've redone Friday the 13th, and I've never had an issue with it. And same thing with Texas Chainsaw, I've always enjoyed it. So, but I feel like same thing with Art the Clown. Um, I feel like if they change the actor, I don't think it's like a complete, it might be somewhat of prosthetics, but I don't think it's 100% prosthetics. But I am super excited to see that movie, and I cannot wait. Carol goes, I don't like it when they change actors too. It doesn't seem right to me. Kyle goes, that's why you can't remake. Can't say, oh my God, Kyle. They tried to, and it sucked. Don't even start with me on that one. That one, oh my gosh. Same thing. You cannot, yes. You cannot change Candyman. That Candyman was one of my favorites growing up. I loved Candyman. What? Carrot? That's weird. Thank you, Carrot, for your PayPal. I did get it. But there's no message. Because I know you said, Carrot, you were going to put a message, but there's no message. It just says it's. But thank you, Carrot. Hearts for Carrot, guys. Maybe, because there's nothing. Usually they'll put it on here, but I don't see anything. It says view the detailed transactions. Ah. Maybe, Carrot, try emailing me your story at, here, I'll put it in. Carrot, try emailing me the story. I dropped my email in the link. All right, guys, have any of you heard of Lake Anjikuni? I know Kyle has, but have any of you heard about Lake Anjikuni? I hope I am pronouncing it correctly. Panda Bear goes, nope. Lisa Boo goes, no, I haven't. Tyrana goes, no. Heather Whatever goes, no. Kyle, I agree. If the slasher is the face of the franchise, remake or reboots has to be a bullseye or it's not worth it. I totally agree with you on that one, Kyle. Daniel goes a tiny bit. And Kyle saying I pronounced it fine. Cannot talk right now. Go figure. So this one is from Historic Mysteries. Hold on here. Let me see if you could kind of see it. We'll do it that way. This one's from Historic Mysteries, and it's Lake Anjikuni. How did an entire village disappear? And this article is exactly 2 years old to the day. I didn't realize that. How hilarious. In the far north of Canada, Lake Anjikuni can be an inhospitable place. Covered with snow and ice for half the year, the lake forms part of a string of waterways which the local Inuit use to sustain their communities through fishing and trade. Several villages existed along the shores of the lake, home to the Inuit and a welcome resting point for the fur trappers who braved the far north to hunt beaver and caribou. But something happened to one of the villages in 1930, which remains a mystery to this day. A news reporter in the Pass, Manitoba, reported about a small Inuit community off the coast of Lake Anjikuni in 1930. Joe LaBelle, a well-known fur trapper in the community, was passing through the area when he stopped at the village only to discover that all of the people had left. According to the story, Joe LaBelle discovered an empty camp with 6 tents, but of the 25 men, women, and children who lived there, there was no sign. This story has been retold many times, and many theories have been put forward to explain the disappearance, from the plausible to the outlandish. What happened to the small Inuit community out there in the freezing north of Canada? Oh, that's crazy. Joanne goes, I just started watching historical mysteries before this stream started. The village that vanished. Joe LaBelle, a Canadian fur trapper, was wandering near Anjikuni Lake in the Northwest Territories of Canada on a freezing November day in 1930. He entered the village in search of lodging after learning of an Inuit settlement nearby, only to find it utterly deserted. Whether Whatever had happened had taken the villagers completely unaware. During his search, he discovered incomplete garments with needles still in them, as well as food hung over fire pits, but no traces of violence or a conflict that would have explained the people's absence. Moving through the village, LaBelle found 7 sleigh dogs, still tied to their posts. They had all starved to death. These dogs would have been vital to the survival of the community, and to leave them behind would have been almost unthinkable. But then, on the edge of the village, LaBelle found something even more chilling. A human grave had been recently dug up. Because the stones encircling the burial were undisturbed, LaBelle recognized it couldn't have been an animal. A human had done this. An unexplained mystery. This unsolved mystery has attracted many investigators over the years. Brian Dunning of the Skeptoid website investigated the instance and tracked it back to the original newspaper article written by Emmett Keller on November 29th, 1930. He pointed out various discrepancies in the original tale, such as the fact that the missing Inuit kayaks would not be battered by wave action if the lake was frozen at the time. He also highlighted that in succeeding retellings, the village's alleged population grew larger and other details were inflated. Later stories add even more unlikely details. Nigel Blundell and Roger Bohr's book, World's Greatest UFO Mysteries, talks of 3 trappers who saw a UFO in the vicinity, along with gross exaggerations such as 1,000 people missing and whole graveyards full of exhumed burials. Joanne goes, my grandfather in Quebec had a neighbor called Joe LaBelle. Ooh, cool. The police team eventually determined that the Inuit had been missing for about 8 weeks before LaBelle arrived, but they never fought out why the entire village had evacuated the area. As if the story wasn't already bizarre enough, while examining the incident, RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police officers reported seeing mysterious pulsating lights in the sky over Lake Anjikuni. Lights in the sky of northern Canada are not unusual. The northern lights are a stunning natural phenomenon that can be seen from even the farthest reaches of the country. But the lights the search and rescue personnel discovered were nothing like the natural beauty they were used to viewing. Unlike the northern lights, the lights they observed on the horizon were bluish and pulsating. The lights, like the rest of the enclosures, were never explained, nor was any link to the missing villagers established. However, various ufologists speculated in the late 20th century that the residents of this village may have been the unwitting victim of one of history's largest extraterrestrial abductions. Despite the fact that the evidence supporting this idea is anecdotal at best, the assumption is both intriguing and terrifying. Could aliens have taken an entire village? It would explain their sudden disappearance and the failure of the RCMP to find any trace. Leonore, what's up? Tyranna goes creepy. It definitely is. Matthew goes spooky. Definitely is. It makes no sense. Another perspective, of course, skeptics will look for a more down to earth explanation for the disappearances of the villagers, starting with questioning the original story. LaBelle claimed to have been a seasoned trapper who knew the region well, but records show that he had never taken out a hunting license before 1930. Keller, the journalist who broke the story, had been accused of exaggeration in his writings before, and one of the pictures used in his article was proven to be decades old. Based on these questions and the lack of proofs as to the village, the RCMP dismissed the story as fabricated in 1931 and closed the case. And just like that, the villagers disappeared for a second time. first from their homes and then from the history books. The evidence for it being a fabrication is only circumstantial and no doubt welcomed by the investigating authorities as a quick solution to their mystery. The lack of a trapping license does not mean LaBelle did not know the region or the village. There were plenty of trappers operating illegally at the time, as well as traders and merchants operating between the villages. Keller may have been discredited in the past, but this alone is not sufficient to dismiss the story. He had many years of experience as a journalist, and his interest in the sensational may have been the very thing that led him to LaBelle's account. And if these two men were telling the truth about what they saw, then an entire village disappeared and nothing was done to investigate. What were the strange lights in the sky? Where did the people go? Why were the dogs left to starve? And most chillingly of all, who had been in the empty grave? Native American myths are filled with evil creatures, cannibals, and monsters who haunt the forests and badlands of their great continent. Maybe LaBelle had just missed encountering such a monster in the frozen wilderness of the North. Guys, what do you think? What do you think caused the people to disappear? Do you think it's aliens? Because they pretty much, um, pretty much wrote it off as it was a fake, pretty much. That's what makes it. Heather Whatever goes, don't leave your dogs not okay. That's what the weird part is. Like the dogs were just left there, and the dogs, they need the dogs. Chris Barber goes, creepy. Leonore goes, oh, I know this story. Leonore heard of it. Leonore goes, not aliens, something else. Dun, dun, dun. Because what would cause an entire village just to leave everything? Like, even they mid-sow, like, just to leave that. That just makes no sense. It is a mystery we will probably never debunk. Chris Barber goes, Bigfoot? It could be. Maybe. Possibility. Gunner Girl, what's up? And a happy birthday to you, Gunner Girl. Tyrana goes, I don't know what to think. It's creepy. I don't know either, because it baffles me. I really don't know, like, why would anybody leave, especially when it's the winter time? It's not easy, and especially at that time, 1930s, it wasn't easy just to get up and leave. Julissa goes, it doesn't make sense. Daniel goes, not sure about the dog part because that was left out in the stories. I've been told 3 different stories of this or conspiracies. They also said it could have been aliens. So do you think that entire village, I think they said 25 people, if I'm not mistaken, and they're thinking they got abducted. Joanne goes, some kind of bomb being or boom boom being tested. Carol goes, I've heard of more than this village disappearing. There's a few through the years. Very weird. So it's baffling. It's an interesting story. It definitely is. Kyle goes, there was also the food was left out, but was too obviously rotten by the time it was discovered. True. It did say that, like, everything was left. Stuff you wouldn't think that would be left were left. Leonard goes, there would be some kind of evidence if it was a boom boom or the red stuff if an animal. True. That's very true. Wendy, what's up? Very true. If it was some type of boom boom animal or something, there would have been some type of showing to that, not things just left abandoned, which is crazy. It's an interesting story, though. It really is. Or maybe it was some government plan and they took all the I don't know. I'm going off conspiracy theory here. Maybe it was like the government knows and all these people, they just took the people and they left the village and the people were able to live their life. We will never know though, unfortunately. It's one of those mysteries. Kyle goes out that far north. Even to this day, there are next to no roads in or out of the villages. Wow. It wouldn't have been easy for anyone to get out. Yes, Tyrannoskeleduck is in the background somewhere. Just remind me at the end and I will point out his location. All right, guys, I have two stories. I have one from D Nice and one from Carrot that I am going to share. Heather, whatever goes, a duck abducted them. So Heather goes, or Carrot goes, aka Heather, the other Heather. Texted my sis, moose running down the street, dogs in house going crazy. 1 minute later, dogs going crazy. It's like an April Fool's. 1 minute later, dogs going crazy. Honey said, sis out in the street. I ran out, tried 3 times, said April Fool's, laughing too hard as she was dodging around trees in case there was a moose with her phone to video. She and I laughed outside for 3 minutes. And she got the idea from Popcorn Palace's April Fools. And Andy gave her the idea. Oh, how hilarious. That's cool. Daniel added, moved on with another tribe. That's a possibility. All right, I got another one from D Nice. Let me pull it up. Hold on. I know I've talked about you know what? I'll talk about it again. I've known in the past I've talked about the solar eclipse and folklore, but D Nice has shared a link with me, and I'll go ahead and talk about it again. Why not? For the upcoming eclipse that we have, I believe. The heck did I open? Oh, it wants me to log in. Hold on, guys, because I want to pull it up on my computer. And they're saying, I believe they're saying Texas is a good place to see it. Give me a second, guys. Let me see if I can find it so I can pull up my email here. It wants me to set it up, and I had it set up already. Let me see if I can pull it up because my computer's being tricky. Jen goes, full eclipse at my house in Central Texas. Wendy was going. I was going to ask Lisa, is it true that Mercury is retro right now? Actually, no. Usually, Wendy, that's weird. Usually, Wendy, I usually know, but I have not seen any articles pop up. Seeing that we are. Usually, I know, but I'm not sure. Chris Barber goes, April in Ohio would probably be raining. We are just above Houston, Elaine says, and have 96%, I believe. Wendy goes, put a sign out for parking, monetize it. Lisa Boo, it is in retrograde. Yes, we are in Mercury retrograde. Usually I know when we are, but it's weird. I did not know this time. My email is acting up. Like, what is this? Forget this, guys. I'll just read it from my phone. All right, this is from D Nice. And it's from the, I might have read this before because I know I did a show, but we'll read it again. It's from the Almanac and Solar Eclipse Folklore, Myths, and Superstitions. What legend and lore surround the solar eclipse? Here at the Almanac, we love our folklore and mythology, and there's nothing like a total solar eclipse to get folks wondering why the sun disappears from the sky. Here are the most interesting stories and superstitions. With the stunning spectacle of the April 2024 total solar eclipse coming up, it is fun to read about how ancient people explained what happened with the sun, the source of our light and life during a total eclipse. Eclipses in Storytelling. In a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court by Mark Twain, his hero, he is transported back to Camelot, gets captured but avoids being hanged with a wave of his hand, seemingly making the sun go dark. For a lesson, I will let this darkness proceed and spread night in the world, but whether I blot out the sun for good or restore it shall rest with you. Of course, our hero remembered the date of a historic and conveniently timed eclipse of the sun. Fortunately, the medieval people thought he had the magical ability to blot out the sun. Our hero is proclaimed the boss by the king and sets out to modernize Camelot with knowledge of the future. A total eclipse in fear. For many people in ancient times, a total solar eclipse generated fear. They thought the world would end or a great evil would follow. Myths often involved a beast trying to destroy the sun with the fate of the earth hanging in the balance, or a sun god becoming angry, and sad, or sick. For example, native people in Colombia shouted to the heavens, promising to work hard and mend their ways. Some worked their gardens and other projects especially hard during the eclipse to prove it. In Norse culture, the gods put an evil enchanter, Loki, into chains. Loki got revenge by creating wolf-like giants, one of which swallowed the sun, thereby causing an eclipse. Another of the giant wolves chased the moon, trying to eat it. Fear led Chippewa people to shoot flaming arrows into the sky to try to rekindle the sun. Tribes in Peru did the same for a different reason. They hoped to scare off a beast attacking the sun. In India, the demon spirit Rahu steals and consumes the nectar of immortality but is beheaded before he can swallow it. His immortal head flies into the heavens. The sun and moon had alerted the gods to his theft, so he takes revenge on them. When Rahu swallows an orb, we have an eclipse, but the orb returns to view because Rahu has no body. Similarly, in China, Mongolia, and Siberia, beheaded mythical creatures chase and consume the sun and moon, and we experience eclipses. In Indonesia and Polynesia, Rahu consumes the sun but burns his tongue doing so and spits it out. In Armenia, a dragon swallowed the sun and moon. In Transylvania folklore, an eclipse steams from the angry sun, turning away and covering herself with darkness in response to men's bad behavior. In India, many people believe that when an eclipse occurs, a dragon is trying to seize the two orbs. People immersed themselves in rivers up to their neck, imploring the sun and moon to defend them against the dragon. A total eclipse and romance. Some culture thought that the sun was in a fight with its lover, the moon. Others found a different kind of romantic explanation. To the Australian Aborigines, the sun was seen as a woman who carries a torch. The moon, by contrast, was regarded as male. Because of the association of the lunar cycle with the female menstrual cycle, the moon was linked with fertility. A solar eclipse was interpreted as the moon man uniting with the sun woman. In German mythology, the hot female sun and cold male moon were married. The sun ruled the day and the sleepy moon ruled the night. Seeking companionship, the moon was drawn to his bride and they came together, thus, a solar eclipse. Some Native Americans drew on a similar concept that a solar eclipse was a visit of companions. West Africans of Benin switched the gender roles of the sun and moon and suggest that the orbs are very busy, but when they do get together, they turn off the lights for privacy. In Tahitian myth, the orbs are lovers who join up, providing the eclipse, but get lost in the moment and created stars to light their return to normalcy. A solar eclipse and weather. It's no surprise that weather associated with an eclipse might spark some interesting theories. The fog or dew or other precipitation resulting from an eclipse was considered dangerous. The Japanese thought that poison would drop from the sky and cover their wells. In Transylvania, they believed that eclipses could cause plague. Alaskan natives believed that the moisture and dew could cause sickness. Dishes were turned upside down, affected utensils were washed. Solar eclipses and human behavior. Even today, people still hold some fear regarding solar eclipses. As recent as 2010, during the near annual very large partial eclipse, out of fear, people stayed home. Few were on the streets. Restaurants and hotels saw a dip in business. Many customers preferred not to eat during the event, and most schools closed when students did not show up. In Cambodia in 1995, instead of screaming and banging during the solar eclipse, soldiers shot into the air to scare the mythic dragon from the sky. It was reported that the only scattered casualties were from the pew-pews. In Baja California, in 1991, astronomers were surprised by the weeping and wailing of hotel staffs who were terrified by the onset of darkness. There are many more examples, but the human response that stands out the most is related to pregnancy. Rochelle, what's up? A total eclipse. That is weird. A total eclipse and superstition. Many ancient people worried that an eclipse caused pregnancy issues such as blindness, cleft lips, and birthmarks. Even today, there are some beliefs and superstitions. Pregnant women are sometimes warned to stay inside, not eat, not carry sharp objects, and not eat cooked food prior to the eclipse. Modern baby blogs ask if pregnant women should wear some sort of metal, such as a safety pin to protect. Oh, you know what it's from? It's from this. Scared the crap out of me. Something on this article went off. I was like, what the heck? Such as a safety pin to protect the baby. Some say that baby superstitions date from the Aztecs, who believed that the celestial beast was biting the sun and that the same thing would happen to a baby if the pregnant mother watched. Of course, none of this is true. The only health warning is do not look at the sun, as it can and will damage your retina. Eclipse as a good luck charm. Eclipses did not incite fear in at least one group, Bohemia's miners. They believed that the event portended good luck in finding gold. Some North American Indian tribes believed that an eclipse was simply nature's way of checking in with the sky, perhaps a sort of cleaning house. The sun and the moon temporarily leave their place in the sky to see if things are going all right on their planet Earth. The strange science of eclipses. Heather, whatever goes, the phone ghost. It was. I was like, where is that coming from? Julissa goes, don't you love all these superstitions? They are cool. The strange science of eclipses. Long before the invention of the telescope, people across the world recorded the motions, positions, and appearance of the sun. Some, like the Aztecs and the Babylonians, were obsessed enough to make astonishingly accurate observations that ultimately gave their priests the power of prediction. The Babylonians. In the 7th to 6th century BCE, the Babylonians noticed that an eclipse with all the same specific traits would exactly repeat after 18 years plus 10 or 11 and third days. This observation was amazingly perspicuous, especially since that a quarter day business ensured the next eclipse would be seen or made only or maybe only seen in an entirely different region of the world. Leonore, thank you for your super sticker of the cute corgi. Hearts for Leonore. Thank you, Leonore, for the support. Babylonians called this period a Saros. The Saros, a third day fraction, means Earth turns through 120 degrees of longitude for each subsequent event. For the same type of eclipse to again appear in an observer's region, one has to wait while eclipses work their way around the world, like a set of gears which require 3 Saroses. Then those third day fractions add up to a full Earth rotation, bringing the spectacle back to the original location, albeit with a slight shift. This time period of 3 Saroses, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, an important observational interval with the curious name of Exligmos, name of Exligmos, I know I'm butchering it, amounts to 54 year plus 33 days. As it surpassed the usual lifespan of the Babylonians, it was amazing they noticed the cycle at all. The Greeks! Kyle goes, in one of the Land Before Time sequels had an eclipse be the focus of the story. The long necks thought they had to keep the sun from falling out of the sky. The Greeks. The ancient Greeks loved that Saros concept so much that they embraced it without even changing it to their own language. This accounts from the Greek historian Herodotus also shows that the common people were quite fearful of total solar eclipses. In the 5th century BCE, Herodotus reported on the army ear when the moon temporarily covered the face of the sun. Just as the battle was growing warm, the day was all of a sudden changed into night. This event had been foretold by Thales, the Malaysian, who forewarned the Ionians of it, I know I pronounced that wrong, fixing for it the very year in which it actually took place. The Medes and the Lydians, when they observed the change, ceased fighting and were alike anxious to have terms of peace to agree on. Solar eclipse! What really happened? What really happens? Total solar eclipses are a cosmic coincidence indeed. How else do you explain that the moon is 400 times smaller than the sun, but also 400 times nearer to us? This makes the only two disks in our sky appear the same size. It would not be the case if either were larger, smaller, nearer, or further away. In fact, over time, our moon will travel further from Earth and we won't experience the same phenomenon. Of course, now we understand the science of eclipses. We no longer tell stories to explain why the moon or the sun went dark. Still, there's a certain magic to these stories, isn't it? Perhaps the romance comes from knowing that all is well with the sun and the moon. Thank you, D Nice. That was a cool article. What do you guys think of that article about the folklore of the eclipse? Which we do have an upcoming eclipse on April 8th. Carol goes, it will be a full eclipse here if it's not snowing. Rochelle goes, it'll be cloudy too. Still bought the shades and ready to go. Lisa Boo goes, it was really cool. Tammy, good. Rochelle was good read, very cool. Elaine also said, I thought it was a cool article. I love folklore, so anything with folklore. I always uh I always don't mind reading. I don't know what it is about it. I just love folklore. Joanne goes, I've heard and read that the moon was associated with female energy and the sun with male energy. I believe that is correct because in I want to say Wicca, the don't quote me wrong because I'm gonna get people that come after me that are gonna say this is wrong, this is right. Don't quote me, but I believe in Wicca, the moon is considered the goddess and the sun is considered the god. Don't quote me because I know I'm gonna have a bunch of people coming after me. And also, too, Joanne, the article also did mention that as well. Daniel goes, the mood definitely affects me and my girlfriend at the same time. They also said, I don't know if you've heard this, that and I've heard it, it's funny, I've heard it, another YouTuber I was watching, he said it too, that crazy stuff tends to happen with the full moon as well. I'm not it doesn't really affect me. I don't know. I feel peaceful when there's a full moon, but I know some other people get affected different ways by it. Daniel goes, we get hyper. I feel calm with the full moon. So I'm like the total opposite. Chris Barber goes, I've seen enough eclipses. Elaine goes, I went into labor with a full moon early. Oh, that's crazy. Rochelle goes, I'm usually up during the moon hours, so it definitely affects me. Wendy goes, full moon nurse theory, crazy shows up in the ER. Yeah, that's what I've heard. Like even with the police department, they also say like the craziness happens. Rochelle goes, I haven't felt quite right. Joanne goes, they say more babies are born on a full moon. I have not read anything, but I don't put it past. I believe it. But I always feel calm. So I'm like, I don't know, there's some serenity I feel when there's a full moon. Chris Berg goes, I love the full moon. Kyle goes, last eclipse I saw there was a lot of lame vampires and werewolves. Kyle, I love it. And they were fighting against each other, right? Kyle. Carrot goes, more babies on storms. Lisa Boo goes, why do I want to howl now? All this talk of full moons. Leonard goes, the full moons are the best. Tyretta goes, the crazies come out on the full moon. Heather whatever goes, I'm trying to reclaim full moons. When my husband departed, I felt like that's wrong. He should be here to see these. Aw, Heather. Joanne goes, moon affects the tides and humans are 70% water. Rochelle goes, I can attest to that. There's a bunch of crazies that come out during the full moon and it's nuts. Elaine goes, teenager behavior debunked. right, guys, since today is April Fool's, I wanted to know how it started. So I found this article. It actually came out today. Because Kyle is saying I'm about 60% Dr. Pepper. Hey, Dr. Pepper isn't that bad. I don't blame you. I don't drink that much soda anymore, but when I was drinking soda, I was drinking Dr. Pepper. So this recently came out, actually came out today on CBS News. How did April Fool's Day start, and what are some famous pranks? Because I was just wondering, like, how did this all come about? Like, who created it? Who started it? Like, why do we have April Fools? Historians aren't pulling your leg when they say no one is quite sure about the origins of April Fool's Day. April 1st, the annual day of shenanigans, pranks, tricks, and hoaxes, falls on Monday this year. While historians are unsure of the exact source of the tradition, they do know the custom goes back century, at least back to Renaissance Europe and possibly back to Roman times. Here's a look at what the experts say. Theories, both both real and fake, tie April Fool's Day to Roman times. Some believe April Fool's Day dates back to Hilaria festivals celebrated during classical Roman times. The festival was held on March 25th, which in Roman terms was called the 8th of the calends of April, according to the Library of Congress. One theory tying the source of April Fool's Day to Roman times is a hoax. In 1983, an Associate Press reporter reached out to Joseph Boskin, a historian at Boston University, to discuss the origins of April Fool's Day. Boskin spun a tale to the reporter, assuming it would be fact-checked and revealed as fake. It wasn't. According to the story, Boskin made up a group of jesters, convinced Emperor Constantine to make one of them king for a day. The appointed jester, named Kugel, declared it would be a day of levity. I got an immediate phone call from an editor there who was furious, saying that I had ruined the career of a young reporter, Boskin said in a Boston University post. He said, I told a lie? A lie, I asked? I was telling an April Fool's Day story. Middle Ages. Imagine. Oh my gosh. That's why you got to be careful today. Middle Ages. Some historians believe France is responsible for the humorous tradition, tying it to a calendar change in 1582, according to the History Channel. That year, France implemented the Gregorian calendar, shifting the start of the new year from the spring equinox, which usually falls around April 1st to January 1st. After the change, people who wrongly celebrated the new year in late March and early April were called April Fools. The first clear reference to April Fool's Day is a 1561 Flemish poem by Edward de Deen, which tells the story of a servant being sent out on fool's errands because it's April 1st, according to the Library of Congress. What are some famous April Fool's Day pranks? Joanne, it's Boskin. The first one, Boskin. What are some famous April Fool's Day pranks? In 1957, the BBC ran a broadcast on the Italian spaghetti harvest that pretended the pasta was being harvested from trees. The BBC also ran an April Fool's report on flying penguins in 2008. In Los Angeles, airline passengers were greeted with a banner saying, Welcome to Chicago, after landing on April 1st, 1992, CBS Sunday Morning previously reported. Taco Bell in 1996 advertised that it had bought the Liberty Bell and renamed it the Taco Liberty Bell, according to the company. As part of a 1997 April Fool's Day joke, Alex Trebek, host of Jeopardy, swapped places with Wheel of Fortune host Pat Sajak, according to Jeopardy.com. Oh, that would have been cool. On April 1st, 2015, streaming giant Netflix shared Fox public service announcements to remind viewers to binge responsibly. Guys, what do you think? What do you think of this article? It's kind of interesting to see where April Fools came about and how we celebrate it today. Gutter Girl goes, I hate having my birthday on this day. I know it kind of. I mean, yeah, kind of, because you're gonna be like, it's my birthday, and they'll be like, they'll look at the day and they'll be like, nah. That's the only thing I feel like people would have said, like, nah. Are you joking me? Really? But no, but anybody that knows you, they'll know it's your birthday. But it is interesting, and I wanted to know where it came about. Gunner Girl goes, yes, and kids were cruel growing up, and yes, they can be. Kids can be. Some of them can, not all of them, but some of them can. So I feel you, Gunner Girl. Carrot goes, I never forget his B-day. Miss my friend that passed. Aw. Joanne goes, the all-women gym that my sister attended put up a sign on the door that men were now being accepted as members. That's a good one. Carrot loves her birthday. It's on July. It's in July. Guys can read. I don't want to kind of announce it, but it's in the chat. Elaine goes, my dad told me when I was 10 that New Kids on the Block's private plane went down. My mom didn't speak to him for the day. Oh, they did? Joanne goes, they got many calls to cancel. Wow. I mean, if you specifically go there because it's all women, then I could totally understand. Oh, Panda Bear post. If you guys are in my Telegram, you can check it out. Panda posted this cool picture. Oh, that's cool, Panda Bear. Delay Lux, what's up? I know this next article isn't of the spooky kind, but I do like origin stories. And because yesterday was Easter, I probably should have done this one yesterday, but um I found this article. It's kind of like mine Panda Bear, my board. I don't use it. It's just a decoration. I just like the look of them. I mean, as sound as it says, I like Ouija boards, but I don't use them per se. Kyle goes, I thought of gifting a Ouija board as a mouse pad, but decided against it. I don't know if that's a good idea, Kyle. All right, this is from the Smithsonian Magazine, and it's the ancient origins of the Easter Bunny. A scholar traces the folk figure's history from the Neolithic era to today. And this article is about 2 years old. The Easter Bunny is a much
This spiny vertebrae.
there's a video talking about the shining vertebrae causes this creature to hide in the. Sorry, I was I'm like, where is that coming from? The Easter Bunny is a much celebrated character in American Easter celebrations. On Easter Sunday, children look for hidden special treats, often chocolate Easter eggs that the Easter Bunny might have left behind. As a folklorist, I'm aware of the origins of the long and interesting journey this mythical figure has taken from European history to today. Easter is a celebration of spring and new life. Eggs and flowers are rather obvious symbols of female fertility, but in European traditions, the bunny, with its amazing reproductive potential, it's not far behind. In European traditions, the Easter bunny is known as the Easter hare. The symbolism of the hare has had many tantalizing rituals and religious roles down through the years. Hares were given ritual burials alongside humans during the Neolithic age in Europe. Oh, wow. Archaeologists have interpreted this as a religious ritual with hares representing rebirth. Over 1,000 years later, during the Iron Age, ritual burials for the hares were common, and in 51 BCE, Julius Caesar mentioned that in Britain, hares were not eaten due to their religious significance. Caesar would likely have known that in the classical Greek tradition, hares were sacred to Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Meanwhile, Aphrodite's son Eros was often depicted carrying a hare as a symbol of unquenchable desire. From the Greek world through the Renaissance, hares often appeared as symbols of sexuality in literature and art. For example, the Virgin Mary is often shown with a white hare or rabbit, symbolizing that she overcame sexual temptations. Hare meat and witches' mischief. But it is in the folk tradition of England and Germany that the figure of the hare is specifically connected to Easter. Accounts from the 1600s in Germany describe children hunting for Easter eggs hidden by the Easter hare, much as in the United States today. Written accounts from England around the same time also mention the Easter hare, particularly in terms of traditional Easter hare hunts and the eating of hare meat at Easter. On traditions known as the hare pie scramble was held at Helleton, a village in Leicestershire, England. It involved eating a pie made with hare meat and people scrambling for a slice. In 1790, the local parson tried to stop the custom due to its pagan associations, but he was I cannot read today. Unsuccessful, and the custom continues in that village until this day. Wendy goes, blame it on Krampus. Kyle goes like Robin Williams asked, how do you get from cussification and resurrection to chocolate rabbits and colored eggs? The eating of the hare may have been associated with various long-standing folk tradition of scaring away scaring away witches at Easter. Throughout Northern Europe, folk traditions record a strong belief that witches would often take the form of a hare, usually for causing mischief, such as stealing milk from neighbors' cows. Witches in medieval Europe were said to be able to suck out the life energy of others, making them ill. The idea that the witches of winter should be banished at Easter is common European folk motif appearing in several festivities and rituals. The spring equinox, with its promise of new life, was held symbolically in opposition to the life-draining activity of witches in winter. The idea provides the underlying rationale behind various festivities and rituals, such as the Osterfeuer or Easter fire, a celebration in Germany involving large outdoor bonfires meant to scare away witches. In Sweden, popular folklore states that at Easter, the witches all fly away on their broomsticks to feast and dance with the devil on the legendary island of Blakulu in the Baltic Sea. Blakulia. Pagan origins. I kind of like the fire that they do in Germany to scare away the witches. Like I like that. In 1835, the folklorist Jacob Grimm, one of the famous team of the fairy tale brothers Grimm, argued that the Easter hare was connected to a goddess he imagined would have been called Ostra or Ostera in ancient German. He derived his name, or this name, from the Anglo-Saxon goddess Estre, whose Bede, an early medieval monk considered to be the father of English history, mentioned in 731 CE. Bede noted that in 8th century England, the month of April was called Estermonath or Estro month after the goddess Estre. He wrote that a pagan festival of spring in the name of the goddess has become assimilated in the Christian celebration of the resurrection of Christ. While most European language referred to the Christian holiday with names that come from Jewish holiday of Passover, such as Pasques in French or Påsk in Sweden, German and English languages retain the older non-biblical word Easter. Recent archaeological research appears to confirm the worship of Ostre in parts of England and Germany, with the hare as her main symbol. The Easter Bunny therefore seems to recall these pre-Christian celebrations of spring, heralded by the vernal equinox and personified by the goddess Eostri. After a long, cold northern winter, it seems natural enough for people to celebrate them themes of resurrection and rebirth. The flowers are blooming, birds are laying eggs, and baby bunnies are hopping about. A new life emerges in spring. The Easter Bunny hops back once again, providing a long-standing cultural symbol to remind us of the cycle and stages of our own lives. That was super crazy. Heather, whatever goes new birth, I never associated. I did not either. That's crazy. Leonore goes, which went tee hee hee. Matthew goes, nobody doesn't like Cadbury. Oh my god, the commercials for Cadbury. I don't know if they still do because I don't have cable television anymore, so I don't really see the commercials. As I don't even think YouTube didn't even have any Cadbury commercials, but they used to have the most hilarious commercials. But I guess it was the United States and Germany held on to the Easter name while others held on to the Wendy, the Cadbury eggs are super, they're rich. So I can't eat too much of it. Like if I eat the whole thing, I'll feel sick, unfortunately. It's like too sweet because I don't really eat sweets as much anymore, so it's like super sweet for me. Yeah, the Easter lion, as Heather whatever says, it would go roar. It would make me laugh so bad. I'd be crying every time I saw that Cadbury commercial. Julissa goes, I don't like them. They're really sweet. Daniel Miles goes, Cadbury eggs is not what I remember. I used to eat a lot of them and I cannot eat them now. They're too sweet. They are. They're too sweet. I tried one and I was like, no. Even Peeps are uh super sweet. Making sure I didn't forget anybody. They do need a balance with some of the candy. I agree with you, Heather, whatever. They do. Because some of it is just way too sweet. Gunner Girl goes, the commercials are still showing, and yes, they're so funny. Okay, cool. I'm glad they still show them because they're hilarious. I like the stuffed peeps. Like the plushy peeps. I have a bunch of those, but Delay Lex goes, where's the sugar free? Exactly. They I don't know what they put in them now. Heather, whatever, that sounds good. I made lemon poppy seed muffins with frosting made with lemon juice, tart sweet. Daniel Miles goes, the chocolate marshmallow Santa Claus. Those are even sweet. I think nowadays they add so much, depends on what candy you eat. But I agree with what Wendy says. Better if you eat the real deal, no high fructose. All right, guys, any of you remember the Phoenix Lights? The UFO mystery? I'm going to add a little UFO in here because I haven't talked about UFOs in a while. I'm not a big UFO person, but if there's an article out there, I do like to read about it. Um Daniel goes, I've heard of it. Heather, whatever goes, yeah, some stars saw the Phoenix thing. So, I found this article from AZ Central, and it goes, what were the Phoenix Lights and why the UFO phenomenon is still a mystery 27 years later. As the 27th anniversary of the Phoenix Lights approaches, the puzzling occurrence continues to captivate the public imagination, and it remains shrouded in controversy and conspiracy for many. On March 13th, 1997, thousands of witnesses reported seeing a series of mysterious lights forming a distinct V-shaped pattern in the night sky over Arizona. Despite attempts by the U.S. Air Force to attribute the phenomenon to military flares, skepticism persists among those who question the official explanation. The enduring mystery of the Phoenix Lights has fueled speculation about the possibility of extraterrestrial visitors or clandestine government activities. As the anniversary I cannot read today. Oh my god. As the anniversary nears, one can't help but wonder, were the Phoenix Lights merely a product of misidentification and quidinky-dink, or did they signify something more profound and otherworldly? What were the Phoenix Lights? Matthew goes, yes, and Kurt Russell was a pilot that called it in. Nerder Park goes, a hamburger is now $35 in California. Please tip Lisa if you can. She needs to eat. And Nerder Report is not lying. They just raised here in California, they raised fast food workers. Just to go, before I continue with this article, let me get off of this. I'll come back to it in a minute. Nerd Report is right on that one. Today, they raised the minimum wage in the state of California for fast food workers to $20 an hour. And I'm talking about McDonald's is one of them. I don't eat burgers, but I don't eat McDonald's, but maybe I want a coffee from there. But he is right. So I'm not sure. I know the prices are most likely going to go up, and they're probably going to cut people's um hours to probably, offset it. But our lovely governor decided to make it's Heather, whatever, it's not everyone, it's just the fast food. So not everyone gets it. So a entry level flipping burgers at McDonald's in the state of California, you could get $20 an hour. But I have a feeling, like I said, that they're probably going to cut hours, so these people are probably going to end up making the same with less hour and working less, in other words. And gas went up too, as well, in the state of California. I think I paid a little over 5, and I think if you go into LA, it's almost $6. Joanne goes, hours and benefits and anything would be cut. Exactly. Kyle goes, a burger and a kid's meal at McDonald's is almost 20. It's gonna go up, Kyle, especially in California. Gunner Girl goes, my first job was at McDonald's and I made $5 an hour. And not to be mean, but McDonald's, I feel like those type of jobs are meant to get your foot in the door to move on to something better and bigger, or something to work out while you're in school. I feel like. Carol goes, they did that here too about a year ago, but not the actual minimum wage itself. So I am not sure what these companies are gonna, because some of these McDonald's are they're independently owned. Some of them are. Some of these um like the Wendy's and the Del Tacos, some of them are independently owned. They're not corporate. They're not corporate entities. Even though the name is corporate, the actual restaurant is actually independently owned. So I feel for these business owners and what they have to do. Gunner Go, some have robots running the whole store. I heard about that. That's crazy. Heather, whatever, my godfather worked at the first McDonald's while he was in high school, and it sucks for people that are not in fast food, and I feel for these people that started at the bottom at their job and worked their way up and is making maybe $2 more than what somebody off the street could get for walking into McDonald's on the first day. I feel for them. I really do. It's not fair to the people. Uh it's not fair to the people. Panda goes, our state's around $4 to $5 for gas. Kyle goes, Japan is already trying out robots in the workplace. I saw a video where a guy was sitting in his apartment with like a VR headset and he was working working a robot in a store. I was like, what the hell? Carol goes, I took care of my parents through an agency and I made less than the people at McDonald's. That's sad. I feel like, Carol, you should get paid more for what you do. For what you did. Heather, whatever goes, almost 7 a gallon here. I believe it, Heather, because in LA it's almost, I think it's almost, no, in LA I think I said it was almost 7. 6 or 7. Matthew goes, I heard of chefs, they don't even get $15 an hour. I know, that sucks. Like, you go to school to learn how to cook and you don't get $15 an hour. Or you don't even get $15 an hour. So it irritates me that, like, I don't know what the governor was thinking. It's like, when you do that, everything else is going to go up. So how is that going to help anybody else? Nerder Perk goes, no more tipping. Yeah, that's going to happen too. But that's what I was. I saw a video. What Heather, whatever goes, they already advertised. They paid for college at the McDonald's here. That's what the business owner, because I guess he owned 8 McDonald's. I think he said 8. I don't know how many, but he said that's what he had to do. He has to have some type of enticement for people to work at his store to get them in the door. Panda Bear goes, do you pay tax on your gas when you pay it? I don't know how Cali does things. I know The reason why our gas taxes are so high and people want to complain, but the reason why they're so high, I did not vote for it. It's because the people voted for it in the state of California because there was this thing that they said was going to help fix roads, and people were stupid enough to believe that that gas tax was going to help fix roads. So they voted yes on it. I don't know, remember what it was. Kyle goes, it's 189 a liter here. Don't know the gallon conversion. I'd have to look that up, Kyle, because when I was in Canada, I went a long time ago. I remember it saying 69.9 liters on the gas sign. And I was like, 69 cents? Because I'm thinking gallons. And I was like, oh no, I forgot. Nerd Report goes 20 is way more than most people get. Yes, it is. That's what said. Nerd Report goes, yes, we pay tax on gas twice. Nerd Report says 77.9 US cent per gallon. And that's the reason why the gas is so high. That's why the gas in California is so high and people want to complain and they move out of the state. I'm going to keep it real. They move out of the state and then go into another state and vote the same way they voted here. And it's like, what does that do? You vote for something and you get mad about it, then move out of state. Well, you're the one that voted for it. Like, make better choices. Joanne goes, well, with all the supply employee shortage, I'm finding that employees are not being properly trained. They're not. I I I can attest to that. My previous job, I was able to pick up things quickly, so it wasn't a problem with me, but my previous job kind of they push you into things. So I was pushed into things, but I pick up things quickly, so it didn't matter. But for that person that doesn't, it kind of sucks. I don't normally go into politics or anything, but that was the one thing that irritated me. And I try not I know it's going a little off topic here cuz usually I talk about the spookiness, but that gas prices in California are scary. But that's one thing it irritates me. Is like they believed that that tax was going to help fix the roads. I'm like, have you seen the roads for people that live in California? I know I drive down one freeway and the whole slow lane has nothing but bumps in it over by me off the 60 here, if you're familiar with this area. And the whole slow, it's the very number one lane where all the trucks are in. That's where all the freaking like bumps, like the potholes, like the indentions in the road. And I'm like, what is this? And I was trying to drive over that when I had a bad tire trying to get to the tire shop. So I was like, nope, I'm getting off the freeway. That's why, if you ever notice in California, 90% of the cars are electric. I am not kidding you. You will see, well, now I'm seeing more other, but you will see at least 20 Teslas driving down the street. I mean, now I see Rivians, I see Hyundai because Hyundai has one. Um, I know Ford has one that I've seen. I've been in one with the Uber drivers, but that's the reason why a lot of people have gone electric in the state. Leonore goes, too many Teslas. Yes. Kyle goes, you can rent out the potholes in Montreal as bachelor apartments. Okay. All right, that's bad, Kyle. Joanne goes, grocery prices here in Ontario, Canada are beyond crazy. We've got crazy prices too. I mean, I'm lucky I've got my 1.5 liter hybrid two-seater, I'm my little four banger, so it doesn't take too much gas for right now, and it's still going. I mean, right now it's starting to need the basic repairs. I've gone I've gone a long time without any repairs on that car. So for that, I've my car has been one of the best cars I've had until now, but it's basic maintenance that you need to do. It's not like the car is going to crap or anything. Wendy goes, bust up an axle on a pothole. Who's gonna pay? I think that's what happened. I mean, my tires were bad to begin with before I got the new ones, but I think that's what happened. I went over a train track and it didn't look as bad, when I saw it. And I didn't go over it too fast, but when I hit it, it went bam. And I was like, and that's when I found on both sides of the driver's side, I had a bulge in the sidewall. So I was like, yeah, I gotta get tires. Joanne goes $4 Canadian for a head of wow. Actually, actually guys are worried about charging cars. They've got regenerative braking. My hybrid has it too. Where when you brake, well, my hybrid does it when I pull off the gas, but when you brake, it charges the batteries. So you when you hit the brakes, it charges the batteries. It's got regenerative braking on it. So you're gonna make some type of power when you're driving your car. Like my car does the same thing. And for the record, I have not once seen one Tesla on the side of the road, and we've got a gazillion here. You can ask Leonore. She knows. She's seen them. I could count. I think in my neighborhood, I have just. I mean, I've got one. The neighbor has one. One up the street has one. The one down the street has one. One up the street has one. Oh wow! Kyle goes. My dad's car is ready to fall apart at any point. He does at least 200,000 kilometers every day back and forth across the mountains. Joanne, that is crazy. Nerd Report goes, the media tries to scare people into buying Tesla. I don't really, with the media, because they like to make things worse than they actually are. Not on all things, but like when there's a storm, they tried to scare. I mean, the last storm we had where they said it was going to be like a hurricane, and it wasn't all that bad here. So I kind of take what the media says as a grain of salt, even with the weather. I kind of take it until I see it. They hype stuff, they over dramatize stuff to catch your attention. Obviously you're not going to watch the news unless there's something interesting going on. So, I get it. Matthew goes, electrical cars also have less mechanical parts. It's the only big reason why they don't break down as much, and you don't have to smog them. In the state of California, I have to smog my car every other year, and it's annoying. And I've never had a car not pass smog, but I've had people, I mean, they'll fail you if your check engine light's on. That's an automatic fail. So if your check engine light, and it could be for something simple as you haven't driven the car, because there's a lot of people that have their cars and they only drive it to, the shopping center, to go grocery shopping and back. They're not like, they're retired, so they don't drive their car as much. So the car sits. So it could easily get something where, because it's been sitting, a code pops up and it won't pass smog. Wow, Carol goes, according to the media weather part, we are supposed to get 2 to 3 feet of snow in the next 3 days. That, Kyle, that is a lot of kilometers, I should say, to drive on a car. Dusty goes, there aren't any charging stations on my island. Gas is still $5 a gallon. You're lucky, Matthew. Well, glad here in Florida we don't have that crap. Angelica, I don't like the idea of being able to charge the car quickly. Gas is, I mean, and that I agree with you on that one, but at the same time, you don't have to smog the car. There's no maintenance. I mean, you get the basic maintenance, obviously, like you got to check the, like the wiper fluids, the brake fluid, stuff like that, basic maintenance stuff, brakes. But the way that car brakes, you don't have to use the brakes. So the car, the if you do it right, you're probably not going to have to change your brakes. Tires, obviously. I mean, obviously you're going to have to get tires. That's just part of having a car. And it depends on what type of tires you get or how you drive the car. But that's the one plus for me, not having to smog the car, because that to me is a hassle. Like that, I always get nervous when I pull my car in to get smogged because I don't know if it's going to pass. And then what if it doesn't pass? Like, how much is this going to cost me? Who's going to rip me off? Because those places love to rip me off. Actually, Julissa, with Tesla, I've seen videos with Teslas with 200,000 miles and the interior still looks the same. The exterior still looks the same. This guy was driving it as a taxi and he never hardly changed anything except for a few things, and it had 200,000 miles on it as a taxi. I think I think I kind of feel like it is built good. No, they do that. If you have like any light, like a check engine light especially, they'll fail you here in California. And it could be for something stupid. But that's the only thing. State of California, it's like you have, it's not like New York here where you're in the city and you can take the subway and it'll take you to work. Like we're too far, I guess, far away, because there's a lot of people that live where I live and it takes them an hour to get to work. And there's people that live an hour from where I live and they work down here, or 2 hours and they work here. Like people live far from where they work. I couldn't believe one guy said he lived in the high desert. That's like an hour and a half from here. I was like, "What?" I know I went a little off topic, guys, but I don't mind having conversations with you guys. People are going to come in and like, "Well, where's the spookiness?" Carol goes, unless it's over 20 years old, but then you can't have any rust holes on a vehicle, they'll fail you. I mean, yeah, if you have anything, I believe, I want to say, I forgot what year, 74, 75. Anything under that, you do not have to smog, even though the state of California was trying to have you smog um those vehicles. And I'm like, you can't. Those vehicles were not made with any capability of preventing smog. Some of those cars weren't, like, because that was not an issue back then. So I feel like that's not something you cannot test for. D Nice goes, yeah, I worked down K Town and Corona. I Electric cars are okay for big cities. I get that, Kyle, but more remote parts of the country, it's pointless because you don't have enough charging infrastructure, so you could go. True, but it does take you to where there are ones. Plus, you can charge at home as well. But I get what you're saying, Kyle. I want to say, Wendy, I want to say it's 1974, 75. I don't remember. I've been out of the I've been out of the loop for a bit with that one. I agree, Matthew. That's just a reason to screw classic car owners as well as classic car yards. I agree. They're trying to, but they're not going to be able to. Leonardo goes off poor lowriders and classic cars. They're trying to, but it's impossible because during the time that those cars were created, there were no they weren't even concerned about smog. Unless you didn't hear it from me. You can go underneath the table with them. I had to do that one year. You didn't hear it from me. Not with my current car. This was a long time ago. But also too, if you modify the car. If you have a different because a lot of people in their race rockets, they like to put different exhausts. If it's like an aftermarket exhaust, you can get dinged for it. Like I had an aftermarket exhaust, not on my it was a while ago, a long time ago. I had an aftermarket exhaust and that gave me trouble. Honey, what's up? Chris, you are lucky. We don't have smog checks here anymore. What? Your report goes, Teslas have the best infrastructure. It's funny how I went from gas prices. That's all right. My husband did something on our truck, better gas mileage. Don't know what it is. Maybe I know if you cover the back, because with a truck you've got that, the bed, and that causes air resistance. So if you cover it, or if you open the tailgate, which I see a lot of people doing, um, I heard it gives you better gas mileage, but I'm not sure. It was a converter, like a catalytic converter. They're stealing those here. After a while, though, if you're putting money into your car and it costs more than the car is worth, then that's what I feel like it's time to get rid of the car. That's just me, because your car um uh loses its value as soon as you take it off the lot. Kyle goes, in the age of classic cars, there was less people and less people with cars and slower top speeds. There was less overall exhaust. True. There was, and there was you, and that true, because they didn't like nowadays. There's like 5 cars per family. Like before, it was just one car. Electric cars. There's charging stations. Carrot. There's like one down the street from here. D Nice goes, the way Tesla can accelerate in 1 second, it scares being a passenger. Oh yes, it does. I thought I was in a roller coaster when I was in one, and he barely punched it. I was like, Joanne, you are lucky. I would complain about the gas, but I only gas up once a month. I think I gas up about once a week. A little less than a week. Sometimes. Just depends. I think I gas up every 5 days. Depends on where I drive. Dusty Lane, how long does it take to charge your car? It depends on how low you are. Could be 10 minutes, it could be 20 minutes. Not that bad. What people do is they'll leave their cars and then they'll walk over, because most of the charging centers are where shopping centers are, so they'll leave their car and they'll go shopping and come back. Alright, since I'm kinda already open to question and answers, I might as well just say question and answers. Answer questions. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, since we kind of been doing that already. And I'll save the rest of the article for the next time. I'll just reread it next time. Because we're having a great conversation here and I don't want to end it. Heather, whatever goes, ever see the haunted car woman? Or woman? Oh my god, car movie woman. Which one? The car or Christine? Those are the two that I know of. Leonard goes, what did you think of Bernadette's video? It was crazy. If you guys are in Telegram, you got to check out Bernadette's video. Christine, because there's the car too. Or yeah, I think it's called the car. With a it's a kit car. It's all black. It looks scary. Kyle goes maximum overdrive. Wendy, Bernadette's video is in the Telegram yesterday at about, I think it was like a little after 9 when she posted it. PM. Honey, I rooted for the car. I wanted her for myself. I liked both cars. I liked Christine and the car. They're both scary. Nerd Report does not like Christine. Matthew's gonna go say blasphemy. I liked Christine. I've always been a fan of Christine. Matthew goes, the car is a Lincoln with, I was gonna say Barris. The car is a Lincoln with molded on the body by Barris Customs. That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna go, wasn't it? It was Barris Custom. He was well known. Nerd Report goes, I hate Christine and Halloween Ends, the same movie, by the way. They were saying, yeah, they were making a connection with those 2 movies. Very true, honey. Honey says she wasn't scary if she liked you and you were nice to her. Very true. True. Very true, honey. I agree. And she was a beautiful car. They were both cool cars. What am I talking about? Nerd Report goes same plot. Tyrana, if you can, you gotta check out the car. Like I had never heard of the car because I always knew of Christine because I grew up with Christine. But when I saw the car, I like them both. But when I saw that car, I was like, wow, this is cool. Matthew goes, Christine is awesome. It won't load. Give me a second, Matthew. It's not loading. Oh, that's funny. He posted in the Discord. I don't know if you guys could see. I just saved a bunch of money on my car insurance by driving Christine. That's cool. Joanne goes, if you could go live on the moon, would you? And what would you take with you? Oh, live on the moon. Yeah. Would I live on the moon? Sure, why not? I would take a cat with me. I don't know which cat, but I would take a cat with me. If I could live on the moon, a cat can live on a moon. Kyle, I've heard of that movie, a killer car tire movie called Rover, because Bernadette mentioned it, and she said it was terrible. But I have not seen that, and I kind of want to see it now. The car I think came out in the 70s, 77, and it has a Brolin in it, I believe. James Brolin. Carrot goes, I had a Saturn. It was Christine's child, drew blood, dropped water, and the seatbelt automatically going back and forth. Nerd Report's asking, did Bernadette survive the ghost? I saw her. Did I see Bernadette? I don't think I saw her in the chat. I think she did. She said she was at work earlier. Heidi goes, that's why I gotta check out that movie. Heidi goes, how can anything top Poo, Blood, and Honey for a bad movie? That's why I gotta check it out. Heather, whatever's asking, did anyone see Repo Man? It sounds familiar, but I don't remember it. I don't remember that movie. Hold on, let me look it up. Emilio Estevez. Maybe I haven't seen this movie. No, I don't think I have. D Nice is asking, where is Sir Quackers? Sir Crackers is right. Hold on. Is right where my finger's pointing. I believe. Yeah. I have to remind myself. Right where he's got his back turned to us. He's like, so he's right there, right where my finger is. Kyle goes, I see him now. D Nice goes, I knew it. He was on timeout. Wendy goes, I see the pinche. Jalissa goes, I did see the duck today. I second guessed myself. Guys, keep the questions coming. I don't know why I say going. I notice I say going. I don't know why I say going. That makes no sense whatsoever. Thank you, Heather, whatever, for your PayPal. And then also thank you, Heather, whatever, because I didn't catch it from the last stream, for your PayPal as well. Hearts for Heather, whatever. Thank you, Heather, whatever. I always miss it because it doesn't notify me, but this time my computer popped up. Thank you, Heather, whatever. I appreciate it. Kyle goes, Warner should release their DC villains for standalone horror movies like The Professor Pig or Hush. D Nice goes, Repo Man is worth watching. I don't know if I might have seen it, but I don't know. I don't think I have. I looked at it. It doesn't look familiar. Like yeah, I don't think I've seen it. No, I have not seen that one. Because I'm looking at like the little trailer that's kind of playing. No, I did not. It's kind of like it's not like horror or anything, but it seems like it's like a tinge of sci-fi maybe. Heather Wetter is going to pay to see it again. Oh wow, must be good. I'll have to check it, or I'll have to see where it's on. It says it's on Netflix, so maybe I'll check it out. Any questions, guys? Keep the questions going. Stay on for a few more minutes. I mean, it was a nice sunny day here today, actually, so I think we're supposed to get rain in the middle of the week again. Tyrana goes, great stream. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Tyrana. Heather, whatever. Yes, we did. I drove in it. It was crazy. I mean, I guess it's good. I mean, I don't mind rain, to be honest with you. I don't. It just you can't go outside and walk when it's rain. I mean, I guess you could with an umbrella, but I just choose not to. Julissa goes, "We don't need any more rain. It was nice to have 2 sunny days in a row." Actually, it was weird because yesterday in LA it was kind of overcasted, but the sun was out. But here it was cloudy. So I hardly saw any sun yesterday. But today was nice. I got up, the sun was bright. I was like, "Yes, I could get outside and go walking." Leonore goes, "Awesome stream, Lisa." Thank you, Leonore. Chris Barber goes, "Lisa, I got some of those things for glasses and they really work." Oh, no problem, Chris. I'm glad they worked for you. Carol goes, "I want some sun. I'm starting to wonder if it's still there. If not snow, it's raining." Ah. D Nice, I agree with you, but I've been sneezing. I'd rather have the rain over allergies. I agree. I agree. This time of year, I have not been hit bad, which I'm gonna knock on wood. The Even last year I wasn't hit too bad, even with all the rain we had last year, but I don't know about this year. Gunner Girl goes, "We got your rain and snow and tornadoes." Wow. And Gunner Girl, for anyone, is in Arizona. Lisa Boo really enjoyed the stream. Thank you, Lisa Boo. All right, guys, I am going to end the stream. Thank you for joining me. I will see you guys on the next one. I'm probably most likely Thursday at the same time, same bat channel, same time. And thank you for joining me, guys. And I will see you on the next one. Sweet dreams, stay spooky, and good night, guys. You guys are all awesome. Good night, guys. If I could find, there it is. Good night.